everyone, and welcome to today's video. It's a very cold, snowy day, but here in my little home, it's warm and inviting, and it's a cozy type feeling. I hope that you can sit down, just forget about the things and the issues of this world, and just to spend a little time with me today. I am going to showcase and show you all the things that I love and all the things that create peace in my home. Ever since the beginning of time, there's been wars and rumors of wars. Nothing is new under the sun, so it states in the Bible. But maybe you're a little bit like me and you're tired of all of the negativity that is going on in the news and all around. There's so much that is happening in our world. I mean, you walk outside your door and everything is so expensive. Gasoline is so expensive, the food, everything that you do. In fact, you want to do a little fun adventures, it costs you an arm and a leg, and you figure, why even bother? Little excursions that used to be maybe a couple hours, little travels, are now almost beyond most people's budgets. So it can get quite discouraging. It can get quite upsetting, and those of you who are like me, who are highly sensitive individuals, it can become exactly distressing. Distress. Not everybody knows what that's like, but it becomes to the point where you can't sleep at night when you watch the news and all of the things that are happening in other countries, but even what's happening now in our own backyards. You see, before it was other countries' problems. It was the people far away. It would never happen to us. We always like to say, surely it's just other people's issues. But when it comes on our own ground, on our own land, in our own country, then things become quite serious. And then we realize that we are not excluded from the troubles of the world. In fact, our country has maybe even more troubles than some of the troubles of the world. And we're no longer the country that we thought we used to be. Now there's a thought. What would our ancestors have thought way back in the 1800s if they would live today to see what's happening in our world, in United States of America? Is America what it used to be? Far from it. But yet there's a few people who stand up for truth. While it is no secret of the values that I hold, I'm ultra-conservative. Anybody who watches even 5 videos of mine would know that. You also would know I don't talk about politics very much. It's a messy thing, politics. In fact, it seems like in these days, you just don't know what to believe. But I do know that there are people that are making a stand. And I think more people need to do that. You know, there's a time and there's a season for everything. And I think what's happening is too many of us, yes, us, me in general, on YouTube are quiet. We're silenced. We don't want to say anything because then it will affect us. And it will affect us in our pocketbooks, if you know what I mean. While I don't go into controversy and I don't go into the latest things that are being said by everyone that holds any type of interest, I do believe that we better get back to our values, the Christian values that we had, or we will be even worse than where we are now. You know, people say it can't get much worse. Oh, but yes, it can. It can get much worse. In fact, you won't believe what things could happen, and they're happening right now under our noses. But you see, the problem is this. It's not the majority of people that are doing these things, but the majority of people are silent. And so if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. You know, there is that song. And until somebody wants to bring justice back in this world, bringing the Bible back in this world, we take God out of everything. We will not have anything left. I am so thankful and amazed how the Lord has such patience with us, especially with the way America was built. Of course, it was not perfect. Of course, America had a lot of flaws, and of course, not all of our politicians in the 17 and 1800s were perfect. Yes, there were many laws that were in effect that were very much against God's principles. I won't go into detail about those. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. But yet, as a family unit, it was based on principles and in truth. It seems like principle and truth isn't very popular these days. It's not the high drama that everyone wants to go on. There's a lot of people that like to do a lot of talking. They will come up with conspiracy theories. Now, some of them may be true, but they like to come up with them, even though I don't know if they quite believe them all themselves. But they still talk about them because that's sensational. Bringing back prayer in your home and sitting at the table, bringing back the family unit the way it was meant to be. All of these things aren't very popular, and they're not the popular opinions of many people because there's no drama in it. I wish we could go back in time, not in every situation or in every topic, but the family unit, the mom, the dad, and the children, the boys and the girls. I wish that life was the way it was way back then. Even though there was a lot of things that were wrong, it still was much more of a peaceful life. Before you want to get on me and say, you are very narrow-minded, my child, just remember that we all have opinions, every single one of us. And while not everybody is going to agree with everything that I say, I sure won't agree with everything you say. But the problem that we have is we have no respect for one another. In other words, there's always this lashing out. Well, that Homestead Tessie said this and that. I don't like her anymore, simply because I may have a value that you don't find value in. But that's a sad life, because we will never learn anything if we don't help each other out and we don't enjoy and spend time with each other and have respect for one another. So I think to myself, okay, what are we going to do with the world around us? Sitting and talking about it, that helps, but can we do something actively? And maybe can we show encouragement and teach others? We have a whole generation of children that are being grown up and not even knowing fundamental truths anymore. We have children growing up that don't even know what right and wrong is. They don't know what it's like to go outside and play for the day. They don't know what it's like to entertain themselves without the iPad and without the games on the internet. There's so much of our childhood that has been lost. Literally, it has been lost. But yet I see a grassroots celebration and encouragement, because there's lots of young families now who are bringing back homesteading and the old ways of living. You see, it's not just doom and gloom. There are many people who are actively bringing back traditions. And I am all for traditions. And I am all for bringing back the old ways of living. So I would say this. We can have the old ways of living and the new ways of living. We can mix it together, but we need to know what we stand for and why. I believe there's a time and everything for every season. And while on my channel, I will never get into politics. It just divides too many people. I do believe that people should wake up, grow up, and be kind to one another, and also be more supportive of one another and don't lash out so much at each other. I think that we are setting an example. And so, for me, when people give rude comments, other people are watching and seeing how I respond to that. We are to be the hands and feet of Jesus. In other words, people are to look at us and say, I want what she's got. If I'm busy lashing out at people who disrespect me or who don't hold my values, I'm never going to change them. Yes, most people sadly will not change, but if I show them a different way, the chance of them changing might be just a little bit more. I do believe it all starts with the family unit, the everyday life of a family in the four walls of their home. What is being taught to the children take to school. And what the children take to school, they share with other children. This can happen for good or for bad. You can have families with bad influences or families with good influences. And when the children growing up know what's right and wrong, and they share that with other children, and it grows and grows and grows, then all of a sudden we will be living in a different world. The children of today will be the politicians of tomorrow. Let that sink in just a moment. The children of today will be the politicians of tomorrow. What are our children learning today? You and I will not be on this earth that much longer. We have our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. What is their world going to look like? We are doing a disservice to our children by not raising them in the fundamental values that hold so dearly for so many of us. And so it is important. This world can become extremely disappointing, depression, anxiety, troubles. But we remember that it's because of the way that we have allowed the world to go. All of a sudden now it's starting to show in tangible ways all of the years that we looked the other way. When do we stop looking the other way and make it uncomfortable for ourselves, but to do the right thing? It's not easy, is it, to do the right thing? It's so much easier to look the other way until it gets to the point where we no longer can look the other way, and then we throw our hands in the air and say, well, who's going to fix this? My friends, it starts with you and I. That's where it starts. Who's going to fix this? We're looking for someone else to do the work when we should have been doing it all of these years. So that is my little bit of a discussion. You won't hear me talk much about it, but it's something that's important, and especially with me having a YouTube channel. It's very important for once in a while me to share with you where I'm going, my thoughts, and my convictions, and let you know that I am going to do my share. I'm going to try my best here on my channel to bring back what's right and flip the upside down kingdom and flip it right back upside, at least in my own little world, that's for sure. And what happens in my own little world could maybe spread to other people's worlds, and all of a sudden we have a change of thinking. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.